and welcome back to Brilliant Blue Reviews. If you're new here, my name is Heather. It's late on a Saturday night. I'm in a hotel room again. You may often see me doing reviews from hotel rooms. I do travel quite a bit. Tonight's review is a movie review of a movie, again, that you may not have heard of. It is the movie Goodrich. And I actually had never heard of this movie until I was checking the movies that were showing at one of the movie theaters that's near where my daughter goes to college in Minnesota. This movie did not come out in any of the movie theaters around where we live, so my opportunity to go to it was only because I happened to be over here this weekend when it had come out. This is a comedy drama starring Michael Keaton and Mila Kunis. It also has a really excellent cast of supporting actors in it. A small part by Andie MacDowell and a few other actors that I recognized, but I couldn't tell you their names off the top of my head. And a couple of really good child actors as well. I went to it with two of my kids, one teen, one young adult, and we all really enjoyed it. My daughter Megan and I both cried. There were also several very funny laugh out loud moments. The movie is set in Los Angeles in the modern day, and it centers around Michael Keaton, whose character's name is Andy Goodrich, and he runs a small boutique art gallery in Los Angeles. It starts out right away. He's woken up by a phone call in the middle of the night, basically by his wife, Naomi, who is telling him that she has checked herself into rehab for drug addiction to prescription pain medication, I guess, or prescription uppers, downers. We're never exactly sure what exactly she's taking. But she also says that she's leaving him in this phone call and that he needs to take care of the kids and she's going to be gone for 90 days. She specifically says that she's in Journeys in Malibu, which I think is a real place. He does go to the rehabilitation center and try to see her and talk to her with no success. He tries to call her at the rehab center multiple times. He mails her letters. They all get returned to him. He's really genuinely trying and very concerned. He had absolutely no idea that his wife had a problem. They have two young twins who are 9 years old, a boy and a girl, and the twins are really pretty adorable and precocious and interesting characters themselves. And it's kind of cool what they do and do not observe and pick up on and notice and stuff. Okay, right away, Michael Keaton, thrown into parenting with kind of no idea what he's doing, totally gave my daughter and I Mr. Mom vibes, okay? There were two movies that Megan pointed out that this movie kind of made her think of, and I would definitely agree. They're both from the 1980s, so you got to be my age or have a mom like me who introduced your younger kids to these movies to understand these references. The two movies that it made us think of, one was Mr. Mom, and if you will, this kind of was the Mr. Mom of today. Mr. Mom, the whole point of that movie is that there's very traditional roles in the family. The dad is the breadwinner and goes to work, and the mom stays home and takes care of the kids, and their roles get reversed. In this day and age, that's not really how we view things. Roles aren't so fixed like that anymore, at least in most families. So it isn't exactly like that, but he is kind of a little bit out of touch with the day-to-day of raising and taking care of his kids, although he definitely picks up on how to do it a lot faster in this than he did in Mr. Mom. He's definitely much more in touch and capable. The other movie that it made Megan think of is Baby Boom, starring Diane Keaton, which also came out in the 1980s. And in that movie, she actually inherits a baby or a toddler and is kind of thrown into it. She's a very focused professional woman without kids, and she has to kind of completely change her life around. It didn't really so much emphasize that aspect of it. I mean, there's a few funny moments and stuff where he's trying to get into the swing of taking care of his kids, but there was so much more to it than that. So Michael Keaton's character of Andy Goodrich, he owns this art gallery. The art gallery is struggling. And so one whole aspect of the plot is the issue with his career and his art gallery and what's going to happen with that and the employees that he has, and he's responsible for them and stuff like that. And then he has his first family. He was married to Andie MacDowell's character, and their daughter is Mila Kunis's character, and her name is Grace. And so there's this whole dynamic that he has with Grace, which is really quite heartbreaking, but also really touching. And Grace is married to a man named Pete. He's a doctor, and she's expecting her first child. So that's kind of what's happening there. He says in the movie that he was married to Grace's mother for 14 years. And then he got remarried to his second wife, Naomi, the one that's checked herself into rehab. And they have these 9-year-old twins. So it's, you know, his first family and his second family, and how do you balance that? And there's a whole thing with Grace, like you can tell she feels a little bit jealous actually, and kind of cheated out of, her dad is a better dad now than he was when she was the age that the twins are now. And she resents that a little bit. And so there's that whole dynamic going on. And then there's the whole thing with his, you know, his wife, and the fact that we honestly didn't like her character at all. We really did not agree with the way she handled the whole situation and refused to communicate with him at all, even when he very much tried to reach out to her. There was a lot of emotion going on. And then there was this whole kind of side story where he makes friends with another dad at the kid's school who happens to be gay, and something really funny happens with that. And he has also been left by his husband and is left taking care of his son by himself. So they kind of form a bond. And then this movie takes place, it's perfect that they released it right now, because it basically takes place like the last 3 months of the year. So it starts like, I guess, probably end of September, beginning of October, and it ends on Christmas Day. Yeah, it ends like right at Christmas. So it's the perfect season to see this movie. Now, granted, in Los Angeles, it looks the same outside no matter when it is. But, you know, they definitely show the passing of these holidays in an entertaining way. So it's a little slice of life of these people's lives, really, at this time of year and at this point in their lives. It's a drama and it's a comedy. There's some funny stuff to it, too. But it's really, really well done. It's very well acted. It's not action. It's not ludicrous, roaring, goofy comedy or anything like that. It's not a mystery. There's no big twist. There's nothing like that. It's just a very straightforward, realistic look at this slice of this man's life and what that looks like and the dynamics he has in the relationships he has with these other people. And I really enjoyed it. And Megan specifically pointed out that she hasn't seen a movie like that in that particular type of genre in a really long time. And she's right. They used to make more movies like that back in the day. And I haven't seen a movie like this in a really long time either. We're all three of us completely baffled as to why it's rated R. It says that it's rated R for language, but there was so little swearing in this movie. 1 use of the S word and 2 uses of the F word, both so quick that it hardly is even worth mentioning, and nothing else. There's no nudity, there's no sexual content, there's no violence, none. There's nothing else to warrant an R rating on this movie. I have no idea why it was rated R. There are many, many PG-13 movies that I would say are much more objectionable for content and language and violence and stuff than this movie. So this movie very easily could have been rated even just PG, I think. I mean, it definitely covers a few heavy kind of topics that if you saw it with your kids, you would want to discuss with your kids, but it was definitely nothing beyond my grown-up kids' understanding. I mean, there's children, young children in the movie who are having to deal with these issues, and it's something that would be completely normal for kids to have to encounter. So I wouldn't be concerned at all by the rating. There's no reason it needs to be rated R. Literally, those 3 uses of profanity that I mentioned are the only thing that they could have given it an R rating for. So don't let the rating stop you. I would give this movie a 5 out of 5. Partially because it was just really well done. It was very well acted. The acting was excellent. There's a scene near the end where I don't know who that actor is. I gotta look him up. the guy who plays Mila Kunis's husband talks to her in an important moment. It's just like this little speech, and it's one of the most powerful pieces of thing I've ever heard anybody say. I mean, I just don't even know how to describe it without giving anything away, but you should see it. It's really good. It's really well done. It's really well acted. I don't think it was released very widely, and so you may not have an opportunity to see it because it may not have come out near where you live. But if you do have an opportunity to see it, or in the future if it comes out on streaming or something, I would definitely highly recommend Goodrich. I do kind of wonder if there's something to that name that they titled it that they gave the character the name Goodrich, just because of what happens with the character and stuff they talk about in the movie. But let me know your thoughts on that if you see it. I would give Goodrich 5 out of 5 stars, not only because it met my criteria that it made me cry, but also just because it was a really well done and very wonderfully acted movie. Highly recommend. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.